Hello! Last week I made a video where I said that 10,000 years ago sea level was rising by 70 centimeters a year when I should have said 70 centimeters a century. Slightly off there. If sea level had been rising by 70 centimeters a year in 2,000 years, all of Britain, including Ben Nevis, its highest peak, would have been entirely submerged. So, took the video down, corrected it, put it back up. My apologies to Kaylee for missing out on the timing of our collab, therefore. Do go check out Kaylee's video on a Mesolithic shaman. I'll put the link below again. But it does give me the opportunity to talk about an absolute clanger of a mistake I made some time ago. This was on a video about humans and Neanderthals. Are we the same species? And I was talking about admixing. Let's hear what I said. Which means that every single instance of admixture which contributed to our modern genetic diversity involved a Neanderthal man and a Homo sapien woman. Why is that the case? So the fact that we know modern humans and Neanderthals interbred, but we don't have Neanderthal mitochondrial DNA, means that it must have been a Neanderthal man and a modern human woman. That's what I said, and it's just not true. It's just not true. That's one possible explanation, but it's almost certainly not the most likely explanation. Let's just think about this for 1 second. When this was pointed out to me, I was like, it's so obvious. So obvious. The key thing here, right, is that mitochondrial DNA is only passed down the female line. So let's imagine this scenario. You have a modern human guy and a Neanderthal mum. Okay? So in theory, their children will inherit Neanderthal mitochondrial DNA. But, what if they have sons? What if they just have sons? Their sons will have Neanderthal mitochondrial DNA, but they won't pass it on if they had children with Homo sapien females. It could just be something so simple as that. They just had sons. In reality, right, that's just an example of one. In reality, this is where it gets interesting. Admixture is way more complicated than that. It didn't just happen one time amongst one family. Otherwise, we almost certainly wouldn't have Neanderthal DNA now, right? Because it's so easy just for one family to die. It must have happened many, many times, many centuries, many millennia, and multiple combinations. Probably every combination of interbreeding. So why, in that scenario, don't we have Neanderthal mitochondrial DNA? Well, interesting stuff might be going on. So a new study just came out. I think it came out just now, October 1st, 2025, about a mismatch in a gene, PIEZO1. This gene controls blood oxygen. It has something to do with blood oxygen. Basically, it seems this gene is responsible for how the blood releases oxygen, or something like that. There is the potential for a mismatch in hybrid females between how they would release blood compared to their offspring, perhaps. There's a potential that something might be going on there, and it might cause infertility, something like that. Which means a hybrid mother, maybe that there's a pressure against that mitochondrial DNA if it's a problem for hybrid mothers. Maybe there's a selection pressure there. Even a very small one, very, very small one, over the course of millennia, could have removed Neanderthal mitochondrial DNA. It's entirely possible that there's some mismatch between admixture, some various combinations that had fertility problems. And that's the reason for Neanderthal genes being the way they are in modern populations. That's entirely possible. Very, very cool, interesting study. Very new study, so will this turn out to be the case? Hard to say. We obviously cannot reproduce a hybrid child to test them for infertility. There's still lots of questions. But the reason I feel like I had to correct this mistake about it being only Neanderthal males and only Homo sapien females is because I think it kind of plays into this image of Neanderthals as savages, that they're roaming around, taking all the women. That's not necessarily the case. There are very simple explanations for why we don't have Neanderthal mitochondrial DNA. One of them being maybe just they had sons that survived. The other one being maybe there were some infertility issues for hybrid mothers. Neanderthals weren't the bad guys, and we're the good guys. In fact, what's interesting is that Neanderthal Y chromosomes are much closely related to us than they are to Denisovans. This was found out in a study in like 2020, I believe. And so the explanation for that possibly is that an admixture event left the Homo sapien Y chromosome being passed down amongst Neanderthals. It's just complicated. It's just complicated. The way the genes are now is so complicated. We're talking about so many admixture events over the course of thousands of years, some dating back hundreds of thousands of years, like in the case of the Y chromosome. They could be having only sons survive. They could be having only girls survive. There could be fertility issues between admixture. It's just not the case that the only possible explanation is that there are Neanderthal males and Homo sapien females. That's just not the case. Not the case. So the video had to come down. I'll probably still continue the tradition, the fine Stefan Milo tradition of deleting the video and hiding under a rock. But I should do this. I should issue corrections.